everyone, welcome back. It's Dawn, and I have decided to do a comparison video with no house paint, no varnish versus the traditional house paint recipe blooms. I'm going to be doing them on these 10-inch glass trivets. And I'm going to be using, for the no house paint version, just the pouring medium with no color added. No tube paint, no pigment, nothing. So it's going to be straight up, just like that. I have selected 2 pigments and 2 tube colors in the same, 4 of the same colors in the 2 different recipes. So I have Reflex Rose and Ultramarine Violet. I have TLP Sea Glass and Perlex Duo Blue Green. And these are the no house paint, no varnish version. So for the traditional bloom recipe, I'm going to be using Behr 2300 Deep Base Eggshell untinted, and I might add a little bit of floetrol to this to for one, thin it down, and 2, to give it a little bit more transparency, because I know this one is going to dry much, the no house paint version is going to dry much clearer because it has ingredients in it that dry fairly clear. And of course I have my house paint bloom colors all set that are exactly the same colors as the ones I have for the no house paint. Sorry if that sounds confusing. I'm confusing myself at the moment. So I'm going to do the no house paint version first, and then I'll set this aside and do the house paint version. I'm going to let them dry and then bring you back, and we'll discuss the similarities and the differences. I think I'm going to go with the deep gold cell activator. Depends on the consistency of this once I open it up. Let's just kind of dive into this. So I'm going to, I'm not going to mouth blow this. I'm actually going to use my blow dryer and try to do matching blooms. I want them as close as possible to each other. So let's get some of this down. And I apologize for the growling and the carrying on over here. It's what they do. So let's see if I have enough here. So let's pop some of these bubbles. So I think that I will start with, no, do not eat my paints. I'm going to start with the Duo Blue Green. Got that a little higher up than I actually wanted it, but that's okay. And then the Reflex Rose. I'll compensate by working backwards with these colors. And then Sea Glass. And Ultramarine Blue. And then, oh yeah, my cell activator looks really good. So I'm going to put it down in the bottom color and then blow it upward. And then try to replicate that same style when I do the house paint one. So let's get some cell activator down. Grab the blow dryer. Got hung up. I'm going to try it on low, see if I can get this to blow enough. Should work. Here we go. Okay. And just getting this moved out to the edge so I can get it to flow over. All right, so just going to give it a little spin just to see how fast the paint's going to move. Pretty good. It's moving pretty evenly considering. Okay, so that is the no house paint version. I have all my colors ready, and I'm going to pour some of my pillow paint into this cup, just so I can mix it on its own and see if it needs some floetrol. Don't need a whole lot of it. It doesn't take much. Now, house paint, as you know, spreads a bit harder than the no house paint bloom recipe. So you do have to make sure you have the proper consistencies. And this is quite thick, so I'm just going to give it a splash. I've already shaken this jug of American Floetrol up and give it just about a tablespoon. And then mix it up really good and see what I have. Oh, that's much better. So if you're looking for a transparent pillow or one that dries transparent, it's important to note that your pillow actually does have to be a little bit thinner than what you're used to for regular blooms. So let me get this all thoroughly incorporated so I don't get a unmixed mess down here. Never mind some bubbles, it is what it is. So I don't know if you can see this or not, but it's now running off the stick and it's leaving about a 3-second trace. So I know that that's going to flow off this glass trivet really nicely. Let's see what we've got for coverage here. A little bit more on right where I'm going to put my colors. Let's get some colors down. So I did the Pearl-Ex Duo Blue-Green first on the last one, and I will do the same with this one. And of course I need to start further up than I want to, because I did that on the other one. A little thick. And then doing, what did I do? Yeah, I did the ultramarine blue. Maybe I didn't. No, I don't think I did. I actually think that yeah, I know I did. I did the reflex rose, but we're going to be reversed order here. So sea glass. And then the reflex rose. You look at some of our deep gold cell activator down. It's going right on the bottom edge, still on top of the bloom paints though. And here we go. Now I know this cell activator will open up sitting on top of Housepaint. So I'm not going to worry about how thick that is. I'm just going to move this out so we can get started with I think we're good. Now I do think this gold is going to sink and open up as it goes, but I'll show you something really interesting when I go over the wet results here in a moment. So this looks really good. It looks very different. The lacing stretches differently. So we'll compare those two when I get them together. So I will be right back. So apparently these two run out of steam pretty quickly. Thank goodness. All right, side by side comparison. This is the No Housepaint Bloom. And as you can see, oh, you know what? I need to shut my overhead light off real quick. Okay, so side by side, this is the No Housepaint version. And you can see the gold cell activator is breaking up very nicely, and these areas where you see shadowing and little pin dots underneath, those will all open up and that cell activator will sink because it is heavier than the pouring medium. We got a nice show of all the colors. This blue is the Pearl-Ex Duo Blue Green. There's the Reflex Rose. You see the Sea Glass and the Ultramarine Blue. And the Deep Gold Cell Activator created some really nice effects, really interesting. But you'll also notice this area here where the color separated a little bit. That's something that I have not been able to overcome with this recipe. That is why I almost always tint my pillow a color. That's really cool. So yeah, that's the no house paint version, and we'll see how that dries. But just take note of how round those cells are and how close together they are. It's definitely a different look. So this is the house paint version, and this is a little bit wilder and more strung out. All the colors are showing up. The duo blue-green, the ultramarine blue, the reflex rose, and the sea glass. It's gorgeous. That cell activator did break up. It'll continue to break up for the next 10 or 15 minutes or so until the paint starts to set on the surface. This is really cool. I got kind of an orange color with the reflex rose mixing with the deep gold cell activator. So that's nice. But you'll see how the lacing actually stretched out in this one versus almost no lacing in the no house paint version. The cells are not as uniform. They tend to be a little bit more abstract. So you get some different looks. So we're going to see how these dry. I am going to cover them. I'm going to keep checking on them though through the day to see how long each individual one takes to dry. I already know that the no house paint version is going to dry without cracking, and we'll see how this one does on that untinted base. And then we'll check our transparency as well when they're fully dry. So I will be back. Okay, it is time for dry results, and I'm doing something a little different than I normally do. Normally I would do a flyover, but I wanted to be able to handle these pieces to show you. So I'm going to show you the all traditional bloom recipe first, and then I'm going to show you the real surprise I got when I lifted the box the next day to see how they looked dry. So I did not mix the pillow down the way I normally would with the gloss or matte gel and floetrol. I just put a little bit of floetrol in the Behr 2300, if you remember from earlier in the video. So it's not as clear as I would like, or that I would normally use if I were going for, if I were actually creating something that I intended to resin and sell. But this did dry beautifully. It's very shimmery, and it held up. There were no cracks in the lacing or anywhere else. So this is a traditional bloom. Now this one is the no house paint, no varnish recipe. And I actually gasped when I lifted the box because I was actually stunned at how this dried. It dried almost completely clear. And I got really, really excited about that. It didn't change at all. Everything stayed put. The cells didn't change. The cell activator didn't sink a lot. It stayed pretty much like it was when it was wet. But this did dry completely clear. I mean, it's fantastic. It looks amazing. So that got me to thinking that rather than mixing up my recipe for translucent pillow for a traditional bloom with the Behr 2300, I think I'm going to do another experiment, and that'll be the next video. It won't be at the end of this video, but I think I'm going to do another experiment later on today where I use the no house paint, no varnish pouring medium as the pillow, and then use the bloom paints, the traditional bloom paints, not the no house paint, no varnish bloom paints, on top of it and see how it reacts. I haven't done it before, but my translucent pillow recipe does contain a significant amount of the pouring medium that I use for no house paint blooms. So I'm going to give that a whirl and see how that comes out. But for now, this is the dried result, the spectacular dried results of the no house paint version of the bloom. So side by side, They're both very beautiful, very unique. And I actually am really excited to do this next experiment. So thank you for watching. I appreciate you being here. Your support is very, very important to me. And I will get this posted, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.